A massive thank you to BJD, Neil, Taran, Larry and Coloured Sands for subscribing to the channel. If you want to be featured in these clips, make sure you subscribe down below. Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here back with round 7 of Season 5 of the F1 2021 My Team Career Mode. Yesterday we're here back ready for the French Grand Prix. Of course, plenty of Formula 2 action over the weekend. If you did miss it, go back and check it out. But of course, in amongst all the craziness that is F2 here on the channel, we also, of course, went back to Azerbaijan for round 6 of the year. And yeah, if you missed out on the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, definitely recommend you guys go back and check out that one. Of course, there will be spoilers in just a moment. But heading to Paul Ricard this weekend, though, fingers crossed, things have been going pretty well so far this year. Like I keep saying, we've had some ups, we've had some downs, but I feel like we're slowly trying to build up a bit more momentum once more as we cross towards the halfway stage of the campaign. Championship-wise, though, currently we're just 16 points now back behind Max Verstappen, who still leads the way. 1 point between myself and Lando Norris there. You can see, yeah, the final race results from last weekend. Verstappen 14th, Charles Leclerc with a DNF there means constructors-wise, we are still out on top there, 28 points clear of Red Bull, who are a further 19 ahead of Ferrari. But Paul Ricard this weekend, always been a track that suits us rather well. However, we are probably going to have to take some engine penalties this weekend. So luckily, I think we're going to be able to get away with a lot of it here. But I definitely don't want to risk any more power unit failures. The MGU-H should be fine. The energy store should be fine. Turbo, we're going to have to put another one of those on. And then the control electronics should be fine as well there. So we're having to use a few components. Grid penalties are definitely going to have to be a thing further down the running. But yeah, fingers crossed that we can keep it clean and tidy this weekend. Like I said, Paul Ricard has often been a track that suited us well. Let's dive in then here to the French GP weekend. Well, heading in towards the final couple of corners then of our first track acclimatization lap. I always do love coming back to Paul Ricard. Finally has delivered a good race in real life as well now, so it hopefully won't get as much stick as it always has done. But a lot of purples, a handful of greens, that should be a purple score surely. There we go. No, it wasn't. Oh, 5 points off. Right, well, hopefully then with a fresh engine, well, mainly fresh components in the back of the car this weekend, the next few tracks are quite power orientated, so I'm quite happy we've taken these swaps now. Fingers crossed, we'll sort of see these through most of the summer stretch, and then we might have to take some penalties as we head in towards the flyaway season. But yeah, fingers crossed though, this is going to give us a helping hand both in qualifying and in the race. I think that's why we were so vulnerable to Lando Norris last weekend, was obviously the fact that the engine was pretty worn out late on in that Azerbaijan Grand Prix. But so far we're just finding Delta on this qualifying sim run, and that doesn't happen all too often. Anyway, out of the final corner then, we are going to be about a second up on our qualifying sim run, so that's exactly what we like to see. And purple, we'll take that, thank you.
We got some excellent data with that run, so come on back to the garage and I can talk you through the numbers.
I mean, we don't need the R&D points. Yeah, let's dive into qualifying then. Well, gearing up for our first lap then in Q2 here for the French Grand Prix, and looks like it's going to be a rather soggy affair then, this qualifying session, as the rain has certainly hit the circuit. Let's just wait and see then. It's looking like the rain's just going to get worse and worse as the session goes on, so it might have to be one of those laps where you've got to just try and get the first lap in nailed nice and easily. But, I mean, we could go from the highest of highs in Azerbaijan last weekend to maybe the lowest of lows here if we end up getting knocked out in Q2. There was a nice lock up through turn 1. Somehow still managed to get the front end to bite. And then nicely all over the curbs through turn 2 there. Doesn't really work in the dry, but certainly works out quite well in the wet. Oh no, that's not the line. Using the dry braking point there. Through turn 3 and turn 4. We do get a warning for track limits, but we certainly haven't gained any time from that one. Might have to abandon this lap and go for another one. Alright, in the final couple of corners then to finish off our first lap. Are we going to have enough fuel to go for another run here? Oh, it's going to be very, very tight as we cross the line. Of course, the fuel delta is going to be slightly over, as we have gone fastest.
Good job.
Not too sure how we managed that. Didn't feel like a particularly brilliant lap there, but I guess we'll take it for now. Let's just see if we have got enough fuel then to go for a second run. and see if we can find any more time.
Forecast suggests the rain is going to be lightening up over the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. You should start finding more grip as we clear the standing water.
That's not what I want to hear. Looks like track conditions are going to be changing, so perhaps being on a lap right at the end of the session is going to be the way to go. But yeah, we definitely didn't gain any time on that other lap there, but we're definitely losing some time stuck behind old Nicholas Latifi here. Get out of the way, and how did he make it through into Q2, actually? I didn't spot that. Normally the back markers all out in Q1, but Latifi's clearly snuck through.
Less than a lap of fuel now. The tank is empty.
But we're just losing time behind him. I think we're just going to have to box in. Oh, yeah, that was close. Yeah, box in and then go out right towards the end of the session. Right, well, less than 2 minutes on the clock then as we head back down in towards the final couple of corners. Let's just see if we can try and get a second lap hooked up here. And, I mean, we're still in P3 at the moment, so unless... I mean, there's only 4 cars on lap, so we should be safely through. But worth just putting the extra mileage in, just getting used to these inter conditions if they're going to hang around for Q3. Yeah, track's definitely getting just a bit too wet at the moment, as that is definitely not the line out of there.
Seconds left in the session.
Like I said, we are going to safely make it through into Q3 though, and yeah, it looks like everyone else has bailed out of their laps. So yeah, track just getting a little bit too slippery there, but into Q3, happy with that. I'm a moron! I went to go to sim the rest of the session and I've skipped the end of qualifying. Oh, it's going to be P10 on the grid. Is it going to be P10? Are we? No, we might have got away with it. Have I got away with it? I don't normally show loading screens on F1 2021. No, I've skipped it. I'm such a moron. Well, I guess we're not going to be able to go back-to-back pole positions. It's going to be 10th place on the grid then for the French Grand Prix. I've partnered up with the F1 store for 2022, the best place to buy Formula 1 merchandise. Currently, they have an incredible end-of-year sale on with plenty of 2021 lines available at up to 40% off, with official merch available from every Formula 1 team. If you're interested, click the link at the top of the description or in the pinned comment down below to help support the channel.
Hello and welcome to the Circuit Paul Ricard, current home of the French Grand Prix, an event dating all the way back to 1906. It's been held at many venues over the years, with famous moments from Dijon and Manicourt the feature of many a highlights reel. And let's hope we see more of those in the race today. 6 lefts and 9 rights give us a total of 15 corners here at the Circuit Paul Ricard, and a lap covers an overall distance of 3.6 miles. Average speeds will be somewhere in the region of 142 miles per hour, and they'll be maxing out on the Mistral Straight at around 205 miles per hour. With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Young superstar Max Verstappen starts from pole position. Sergio Perez lines up alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Gasly, Leclerc, Lando Norris and Sainz, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Bottas and Mr. Monaco, Russell, Hamilton and Guan Yu Zhou and Ocon, Stroll, Latifi, Nikita Mazepin and Callum Islet, Giovinazzi, Schwartzman, Lundgaard and Mick Schumacher. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going.
Cannot believe I managed that at the end of Q2 there. But we are ready then on the grid here for the French Grand Prix, and this one could get interesting then. Looks like we're going to see dry to inters to dry again by the end of this race, so that might create a little bit of drama, a little bit of spice here at Circuit Paul Ricard. I guess the best shot then is to stick on these mediums and then see if we can make it to the wet period. I tend to find the rain arrives earlier in Grand Prix than Codemasters often predicts, but we're going to have to place a bit of a gamble then. Even if not, we can go onto some softs and then maybe back onto... we might have to double soft stint this race. We don't really know, but 27 laps ahead of us. We had a brilliant race here last season, if you guys remember that. I think took one of our only wins of Season 4 here at the French Grand Prix. Can we make it 2 in a row here at Le Castellet? Everyone around us starting on mediums, of course, after the intermediate Q2. 5 red lights. And it's the lights out, and away we go. Actually off to one of my better starts there as we try to get the run on Bottas in towards turn 1. There, no Russell. It's going to mug us both off into turn 1. It's Guan Yu Zhou. An absolute torpedo in towards the first corner there. Luckily, somehow, they've all managed to make it through the first corner there nice and cleanly. Russell going super defensive on Valtteri Bottas there. Of course, they've had some rivalries in the past, but neither of them in a Mercedes at the moment. There, it's around the outside of George through Sector 2. Oh, launch it around the outside there. Run just a little bit wide on the exit, but I think we'll have that. Thank you very much. So I'm into P9 then, off the start of the French Grand Prix. But again, George Russell's going to come straight back at me here. We might be running a bit too much wing early on. As 3 wide for the second weekend in a row. Who's going to win in the battle of the late breakers? This time around, it's going to be me. And I'm not having any second guessing there from anyone else. We need to be quick off the start. We can't afford to let Red Bull romp away. As Lando now up into P3 ahead of Pierre Gasly. Come on, that might be Charles Leclerc even. But yeah, we cannot afford to let the top runners break off. Anyway, heading down in towards the final couple of corners then of lap 1. It's weird to see everyone on medium tyres here to start a race, but clearly hasn't worked out too badly for us. Max Verstappen leads the way though at the end of the first lap, as we're definitely struggling for top end speed still against a lot of other cars. But back down in towards the first corner, we're still all over the back of Yuki Tsunoda, as that's going to be a track limit warning already. Got to be careful of that inside curve through turn 2. Are we going to have the run on Yuki Tsunoda in his Mercedes? Seems like a lot of other cars are able to get the speed up, and then just as we get towards the red line, we've got a little bit more than a lot of people here to the inside of Tsunoda, who tried to go defensive. We're having none of that, mate. You can move around as much as you like there, try and squeeze us offline. We're confident, composed, and we're up until we're P8. Trying to get a nice run on sights out of the final corner there as Verstappen another new fastest lap of the day. We only went a couple of tenths off.
You can use it when within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
As we've really just got to try and pick people off early on here in this race. We've got another nice run on the exit though. Carlos Sainz going defensive down in towards turn 3, and thank you very much there. Carlos Sainz completely tripping over himself that third leg. We're going to now have P7 in this Grand Prix. We're going to be in the slipstream and the DRS of Daniel Ricciardo, but already, yeah, we're going to see a bit of a DRS train form here. I can't help but worry, but yeah, making really, really good progress early on. Lando struggling to match the Red Bulls though, which is not what we want to see, as he's now under pressure from Gasly in towards the chicane, but he lives to fight another day. We, however, have got a really nice run on the exit there. Are we going to be able to have a look to the inside of Daniel Ricciardo in towards turn 9? Purple through the middle sector, and up the inside we go. Give him a little bit of room on the exit there. Still side by side as Daniel Ricciardo very, very late on the brakes. We're not having him mug us off like that, thank you. We'll keep the nose there, be a bit of a pain on the apex, but 2 places gained in a lap. And already, yeah, we're looking right towards the front runners. This has been a dream little start.
See some rain about 10 to 15 minutes from now.
10 to 15 minutes till the rain, though, so we've got to be careful of that already, as clouds are moving around rapidly above the circuit. It doesn't always mean there's going to be rain. You don't need the clouds to be moving really fast for that. But it's a very, very good indicator, as it always gives me horrendous room spin. New fastest lap of the day, though, as well, to help out. There's another warning. That's not good. Come on then, let's see how many ponies the Prancing Horse has got.
At this rate, then we won't have enough to reach the end of the race.
Not worried about that, Jeff, thank you. Yeah, has Charles Leclerc got enough ponies in the back of that Ferrari? Is Gasly again having a look? Oh, this time around, though, Gasly might have just made it stick, as they're all going to concertina up. We're going to take a lot of curb on the exit and try to capitalise here, as Charles Leclerc a bit caught napping there. As to the inside we go, and up into P5 now of this race. Oh, Lando, why is he lifting there? He must have damage. Lando must be struggling early on here. We're going to have to send it up the inside of our teammates. Yeah, he has definitely got issues early on there. He basically lets us by. As up now into 4th place then. No, he's coming back at me. What is Lando doing at the moment? Very, very confused by that one. But it is Honda Power locking out the top 5 at the moment. But we cannot let Perez and Verstappen run away. I've had to try and work back from 10th on the grid because I'm stupid. But still, Gasly might be the easiest overtake of the lot, because of course he's going to have no DRS to defend himself with. So we head out onto the Mistral straight once more. They've got to be really careful of that bump on the inside, but surely Gasly's not going to be able to do much. Honda versus Honda. To the outside we'll go. We'll have the race in line, thank you, and clean past him by the time we nudge the brakes there and deep round the outside of Pierre, but feeling really, really confident in the car there as Perez dropping back from Max Verstappen at the moment. The gap 1.8.
Check your MFD for a new strategy option. Gap to teammate behind is 1.6 seconds.
Team's starting to come up with some new strategies. Yeah, we don't really care. That's fine, Jeff. More interested in when the rain's going to arrive, mate, as we've got to try and now get within the range of Sergio Perez this lap. I think we are, but I don't think we'll be close enough to do anything to Checo. Checo's definitely fallen away from Max at the moment, and now I think he's just trying to hold me up a little bit to help his teammate out, but I always forget, you know, in the dry, this track is one of the fastest, I think, in Formula 1 there, as we try to put power down on the exit of the... well, onto the start of the Mistral straight even, I should say, but surely Sergio Perez, a bit like Gasly, no DRS to defend himself. Checo, the Minister of Defence, but he's not going to be able to do anything. So he head down the back straight, got so much extra speed, and I'm feeling it this weekend so far. Maybe we're going to see a return of the sort of pace we had in Baku once more. Max Verstappen, 2 seconds up the road.
And we're expecting it in around 5 minutes. 5 minutes till the rain.
Now expected in 5 minutes. Oh! Don't do that too often. That was... yeah, I'm not sure how I held on to that one. That was a bit too scary at 200 miles an hour. Well, this is very...
careful. We think you're going to start losing some tyre grip around now.
Not too worried about that, Jeff. This is very much feeling like a Hamilton-Verstappen kind of battle there as new fastest lap of the day. First car to dip into the 128. So, a little bit deep through there. But yeah, we are pushing Max Verstappen hard at the moment. The gap's coming down a couple of tenths still, lap after lap. But he's definitely trying to up the ante. I think Max might have just chewed up a little bit more of his tyres at the moment, as the gap's going to be super close when we get to the DRS detection. It might have been 1.001 there. Oh no, the detection point's there. Oh, we have got it still. I didn't think we would, therefore. But yeah, now inside the DRS range of Max Verstappen is, we're already pretty much at half distance. The first half of this race has flown by, but there's definitely a little bit of cloud cover in the air. Oh, Verstappen in. Oh, wasn't expecting that then at the end of lap 12. Max Verstappen into the pit lane here, so we've now really got to stay out and see what happens with this wet period. I'm wondering if we can take these tyres to about lap 17, obviously depending on what happens with the weather. We could go soft to the end anyway.
By 5.8 seconds.
But Verstappen, yeah, clearly not vibing with these medium tyres there. He's in a lot earlier than I was expecting him to be. And we will inherit the lead then of the French Grand Prix here from Le Castellet.
Okay, we don't think we're far away from some rain. I'll keep you updated as the conditions change.
So Jeff's still adamant we're going to see some rain, but yeah, we'll wait and see how bad it is. That's the real question now. That's a lot of curb. And that's a lot of curb. We're pushing still. Oh, there we go. There's the flash. The rain is now here.
Okay, be careful on those slicks. These conditions are making the line a bit greasy, but we're still nowhere near the changeover point.
There we go then. Looking on the mini-map, seems like everyone else that hasn't boxed has kind of got the same idea at the moment. So it looks like, yeah, it's really looking like Verstappen.
Box. We're coming in this lap.
Team now want us in, but that's still to go on to the dries. But yeah, really looking like Verstappen might have been the only one that's gambled the other way here.
You might want to start being a little more conservative with your fuel. We may not finish at this rate of usage. A new strategy is available on the MFD.
Oh, there we go. Team now suggesting inters. Is it wet enough? I'm not convinced it's wet enough. Oh, says that as he understeers a lot. We've got a load of cars in. I'm not sure whether it is intermediates just yet, but I'll be honest, this track is getting very, very slippery. Very, very quickly there. Looks like a lot of other cars have opted to box, so I think, yeah, we're going to have to. DRS, though, getting disabled. Yeah, there's no grip left on these dry tyres, so we're going to have to be super careful.
Has been disabled by the stewards. DRS will be offline.
That's not where you go through the final few corners here of Le Castellet, and that's going to be a penalty. We completely dropped it, and they're going to penalise me for that. I don't think we gained anything from it, but yeah, that's going to make this race a little bit more difficult then. Lando into the pits. Both Red Bulls going to be into the pits as well. Surely Max Verstappen, yeah, can't afford to hang out another lap here, but yeah, bit of chaos then at the halfway stage of this French Grand Prix there. Surely, yeah, Verstappen's going to have to pit this time round. As, yeah, luckily team aren't changing the wing. 2.3 isn't too shabby either, as Lando hopefully won't get held up too much. But we are still going to have a comfortable little lead.
One stop left.
Yeah, fingers crossed now, obviously, we can just take these inters to if it gets dry again, and then just obviously go softs to the end. But now we've got to try and maintain a 3-second lead over Sergio Perez for merely spinning and trying to bring it back to the road. I know it's still very early on in this Grand Prix, but have we seen another catastrophic strategy error from Red Bull and Max Verstappen there? Of course, last time around, I'm pretty certain he had contact with someone. That's why he had to pit twice in 2 laps, but are Red Bull just dropping the ball? Oh, Daniel Ricciardo with issues. That's very, very sad to see. McLaren have had such a struggle early on in the year, and they're finally fighting towards the sharp end, and looks like that might be all potentially going up in smoke. Potentially, yeah, just some minor technical gremlins for the Australian.
Okay, the gap behind is 6.0 seconds.
Could see that we're just pulling away from Checo with the similar sort of pace that we had in the dry. Oh, yeah, yellow flag's out. Ricciardo going slowly. Is that... I think that's the Australian out then of this race. Please no safety car, though. We can't have a safety car. I don't think we're getting a safety car. Thank you very much. Do not want Max Verstappen being given a free pass back into this. He's really the driver we're worried about.
You're doing well out there. Keep it up. We're looking at about 10 more minutes of rain. 10 minutes. Inters look like the best tyre for now.
Well, 10 more minutes of rain then, so it's meant to stay around for a lot longer than the game was predicting in the pre-race. So, yeah, not gonna... Well, we might see it pretty much take us to the end. We might have to do a very, very late pit stop back onto some dries.
There's been an incident on track, but officials aren't looking to push for a safety car right now. Just be careful. Check your MFD for a new strategy option.
Riddle me that then. Why on earth did the team want us to box in 3 laps?
You'll be on inters for the next stint.
Why? We've just pit onto these. Are we getting a slow puncture or something that I don't know about? Sometimes, Jeff, I wonder.
The radar's showing a clear patch on its way. There's about 10 more minutes of this rain.
I reckon we're probably not going to pit back onto dries by the end of this, but at the moment, we're just setting the pace, keeping it clean, keeping it tidy, and doing everything we need to here. Yeah, just feeling at one with this car. Like I've said before, this thing for us...
Behind is 10.3 seconds.
It always seems to come alive in these intermediate conditions, and I mean, around a track like Paul Ricard where we had some good pace anyway, just you occasionally get it with this car where it absolutely clicks and you feel like you can match the Red Bull. They've definitely got a slightly quicker car than us still at the moment, around most circuits, but yeah, the really sort of high-end stuff like Baku, we stand a good chance. And then yeah, when we're chilling with the car, things are looking pretty good there. Christian Lundgaard just moving out of the way. Thank you very much, buddy. 8 laps to go here from the Castellet. Well, Sergio Perez might just be falling into the clutches of our teammate Lando Norris at the moment. Gap's still about 2.
This is 11.0 seconds.
But yeah, whatever's going on between those two, I'm a long way ahead of it still. 7 laps to go here from the Castellet, and well, I'm starting to wonder, had I not been a moron before the race, could we have potentially taken back-to-back pole positions here? The race pace has been second to none. I haven't really felt this at one with the car. You know, it's happened a couple of times this year. A lot of the Baku race, we struggled towards the end. Not going to argue against that. Imola as well, I felt really, really good early on. Of course, but before the engine decided it didn't feel good anymore. But yeah, Perez though, gap now under 2. Is Lando potentially going to be able to hassle him here as we've got some lap cars coming back out of the pit lane? Why are people opting to box again for a new set of inters? I mean, what are ours at? Oh yeah, 20%. We definitely want to be thinking about it rather soon. Very, very strange. Perhaps they just want to do one less lap of this track. Oh, we've got yellow flags out. Oh, one of the Haas cars has gone round. That must be Mick Schumacher. Has he just spammed?
The track is drying, but it's going to take a while to clear the standing water off the line. Don't start thinking about slicks just yet.
I'll be honest, Jeff, it wasn't even something I considered there. I had been wondering whether it was getting wetter still at this stage of the day. Oh, we got a safety car. Why?
Is clear. Green flag.
Oh, the Haas car.
Deploying the safety car due to multiple cars being stopped on track. Mind your delta.
this might completely turn this race on its head, because of course now we can't get rid of this 3-second penalty here, and Checo's going to be all over me. The last couple of laps of this race might well be just qualifying style runs, but is the track going to start getting dry as well? There's so many questions now with 5 laps to go. Have we just been screwed because Mick Schumacher can't keep his car facing the right way? Oh no! Why are team now recommending dries again? Oh, this might open up something though. If all the AI pit, I'm not convinced it's dry enough yet that you're going to be able to make up a whole pit stop in 2 lapses. So are we going to see even more late race change-ups in this French Grand Prix? We have still got about a 1.5 second margin over Checo anyway. But if these guys all pit, could we hang on for 2 laps at the front and maybe walk away?
You will be controlling the pace on the restart. Keep it steady until the safety car has reached the pit lane.
Well, I don't think I'd let a safety car restart on F1 2021 until Baku last time, and now we're going to make it 2 in a row. But are we going to see a load of AI pit then at the end of this lap? I don't know why I'm sticking all over the back of the safety car. We're just going to bolt out of the final corner. Here we have got a few little cars of lap traffic hopefully in the way, but look at that, the track is really drying up rather quickly.
There's 4 laps of fuel remaining.
Is it going to be worth pitting in, or should we've got to stay out? If these guys all stay out and we can't make up the gap, we are going to be way down the order there. Look at that, they are all peeling in. So now, oh, have we made a bad decision though? Look at that at the final corner. Looks like, oh no, Perez has stayed out. So what is going on then? Late on in the French Grand Prix, we've got a load of cars have pit, a load of us have stayed out. But this is okay. I mean, I'm not so worried about some of the slower cars getting near us. There is still a bit of grip, actually, on these intermediate tyres there as we try and pull away. But obviously, if the Red Bull boxes at the end of this lap, then we might have been given a bit of a lifeline. But this is one of the weirdest ends to a Formula 1 race we've had so far in my team. Season 5 is delivering so much crazy carnage early on this year there. But we've still got to try and pull out the 3 seconds over Sergio Perez there, as that's a big wobble out onto the back straightaway.
Available on the MFD.
Everyone's definitely saying soft tyres are the way to go, so we've really now got to pray that all of these guys box then at the end of this lap, or are they just going to try and set out like we're trying to at the moment? Gap to Perez still holding at about 1.4 there. We've got the 3 seconds over Carlos Sainz, but yeah, we really need these guys to pit at the moment there. Look at that, down into 7th gear through turn 9. These tyres are not working as well as you'd want them to be, and all we're going to be doing is overheating them as well at the moment, but we absolutely cannot pit, and I'm sure Sergio is probably being told the same thing. We haven't got any pace over him, so if Sergio's sensible, he'll stay out here. Look at that, he's already attacking us as we head in towards the final couple of corners. We've got yellow flags out though, someone's got issues. Perez is in! Oh, we've got an AlphaTauri off, but Perez comes in. Lando Norris has opted to stay out though, so it is going to be us and Lando, as well as a handful of other cars there. Most notably, Max Verstappen, I think, is part of this little train. He's 3.1 behind us, but 1 lap to go then of the French Grand Prix, and is that penalty going to completely screw me here? Are we going to potentially, you know, fall all the way down to about P5 in this race there, or are we somehow going to be able to find a little bit more time on this last lap? You know, the AI is so good on the wrong compounded tyres here. They always can just find the grip as we try and get a run out onto the Mistral straight once more. But not looking good for us at the moment. Are we still, after everything we've done today, going to lose points to Max Verstappen in the championship? Lando Norris is applying the pressure as well as Sainz and Tsunoda. I think we're having a bit of a battle as well there, as there's just nothing in towards the chicane there. We can't afford to hold Lando up either at the moment. Lando Norris has got to try and take home the dub, I think, as we've cost him a little bit. Sainz is now starting to look in towards the final few corners here. We should, unless we have an absolute nightmare, be safe ahead of the AlphaTauri there. Is that an Alfa Romeo in 7th, or are they still a lap down at the moment? This has been such an odd end to the French Grand Prix there. Look at that, Lando Norris for the 2nd time this year jumps us on the wrong set of tyres for the condition there. He is going to come through to take his 2nd race victory of the year, but it's all going down the pan for us right at the very end. They're not happy with that 3-second time penalty from the FIA. Yes, we made a mistake, but we definitely didn't gain anything from it in the long term there. Out of the final corner is P2 on the road, but I think is going to be P5 at the checkered flag.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
A great race then, and a fantastic victory here at Paul Ricard. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
Well, the safety car completely changed the race, didn't it? It's hard to say exactly what would have happened without it, but there's no question that they came out of that situation in a good position.
Here comes your top three making their way down to the podium for what can only be described as a fantastic day for Formula One. And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. It wasn't the best weekend for our championship leader, and their advantage at the top has been reduced. Some amazing talent out on the track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
But there's no question in my mind, it has to go to George Russell. What a performance. He's got every right to be proud of what he accomplished out there today.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. The current leaders continue to extend their lead at the top. Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Well, there we are then, guys. The end of the French Grand Prix in a race that was going so well for us gets turned on its head right in the dying stages there. Lando Norris gets his second race victory of the season, so whenever we win a race, Lando Norris tends to win the next one. Unfortunately, Max Verstappen then wins the next two, so we'll wait and see as to what happens next. Oh, we're in Austria next weekend. It's going to be a Verstappen win. But yeah, Lando takes home the dub ahead of Carlos Sainz there and Yuki Tsunoda. Max Verstappen in fourth ahead of Gasly and myself. We did end up getting jumped by the AlphaTauri, who beat me on a 3-stop. And we pit once during that Grand Prix there. Russell in seventh ahead of Perez in eighth, so it definitely wasn't worth boxing late on. Leclerc and Bottas, as well as Hamilton, 4-stopped that. And two of those three still were able to pick up points when all is said and done there. Daniel Ricciardo, the only man to not make it through to the checkered flag there. Championship-wise, Lando Norris now just 2 points back from Max Verstappen there. We're 20 away, but hanging on in at the moment. You know, we're living on a prayer at this stage of the game there. Charles Leclerc, ever consistent run early on in the campaign, starting to dwindle here. Still 74 points for the Ferrari driver there. Tsunoda in a bit of a Ferrari sandwich. Is Russell ahead of Ocon now? Further down the order, the only man to change positions at the end of the weekend there. But we've still got a 45-point lead over Red Bull at the moment there. That big result jumps Aston Martin back ahead of Alpine as well there. But yeah, Ferrari closed down the gap to Red Bull. Just 15 points between those two teams as well at the moment. But what a weird end to the French Grand Prix. If you guys have enjoyed, do make sure you leave a like and get yourself subscribed. Thank you all so much for watching. And yeah, we'll be back at some point this week, ready for Austria. You guys do not want to miss that. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members. So a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below. And yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.